Welcome to the live stream. A huge story that I started getting emails from people saying I wasn't going to talk about this story, which is insane. Of course I'm going to talk about this story. And these are the major allegations from former interim DNC chair Donna Brazile about Hillary Clinton effectively stealing the Democratic Party nomination. And I'm going to get into, I'm going to take it all from the top, and we're going to have plenty of time here to get into the details of this. And I'm glad you're joining me here today because this is just an absolute huge story. If this is your first live stream with me, welcome. It's really live, unlike the clips that we upload to YouTube, which have clearly been previously recorded. This is live unless you're watching a replay. You can communicate directly with me. I can read your comments and respond to them. I can answer questions you might have. The best two ways to send those in are to use Super Chat, which is the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat window. You can also go to streamlabs.com/The David Pakman Show. Super Chat takes about 30%. Streamlabs does not. Streamlabs just takes about 3%. So that's an option. Both are available to you, and feel free to send questions and comments in while I'm talking about the DNC stuff, and I will get to all of them after that, I promise you. New members and patrons get live thank yous during the stream. That includes if you sign up at davidpakman.com/membership. That includes if you make a pledge at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. Now, I did figure out on yesterday's stream, I got this thing set up where, see where it says over here, where is it? Pledged, right there, pledged, $91. And then little animations play over here. We finally got it hooked up with Patreon, and then all 1,900 something current Patreon contributions were popping up one after the other. And I spoke to Streamlabs about it, which runs the graphics for our streams, and they said that this is a glitch that they're dealing with, that what happens is that basically the way Patreon works, the first of the month, patrons are charged. Everybody who's an active patron on the first day of the month is charged. And the Streamlabs integration sees that as all brand new pledges. So it actually ran through, and it ran overnight, even after the stream was over. Now 1,987 of those. But now it seems like it's done, and we should only be seeing up here actual new Patreon contributions that happen during the live stream. Now, as far as Patreon goes, this is from today's bonus show. We have now set up, and this will be my buddy during the broadcast show, a Jenga game on the David Pakman Show studio desk, and starting effective immediately, in fact, effective last night, we are going to be turning Patreon contributions into a Jenga-related game where I will be moving pieces for people that make Patreon contributions, and when the entire thing ultimately comes down, depending on how many pieces I'm able to move, there will be a major membership discount. So that's already happening, just so you know. And I actually did a test game today on the bonus show. So if you did not watch today's bonus show, if you are a member, if you're not a member and you sign up, definitely check out today's bonus show. davidpakman.com/cryptocurrency to learn about the amazing reality that we are now accepting cryptocurrency. And please don't troll the live chat. I actually had to ban someone before the stream even started. It's pathetic, right? Absolutely and totally pathetic. And we do have, now that I'm focused on the discussion, we do have moderators in there. Okay, so let's talk about what's going on with the DNC. I'm going to go through this story in detail, but to begin with, as soon as this story broke, I started getting emails from people saying, David, you will never talk about it because you're a shill. There's posts on our Reddit discussion forum at davidpakman.com/Reddit. People saying, David, you won't admit that Hillary Clinton stole the DNC, the Democratic primary, because either, I guess I'm some such major Hillary supporter, even though I voted for Bernie Sanders in the primary, that I won't talk about that or whatever. There's one reason I didn't talk about the Donna Brazile story on today's program, which is the program was already in production when the story broke. The article published on Politico Does it say here? I'm linking to the article in the description. It doesn't say what time it was published. But needless to say, we sort of decide on stories for the show a lot the night before and then a little bit the morning of. The show was done. We were already taping the show. We're about to tape the show when this story broke. So there was no reason whatsoever that I would not talk about this. I've talked about Bernie Sanders getting screwed by the DNC. I've talked about the DNC strategically scheduling debates or not scheduling them. The ones, many of them just not scheduled. Eventually, they had to schedule more debates, scheduling them at particular times when viewership would be lower. I've talked about so many ways Hillary Clinton in Nevada working out, sharing office space with the DNC. The DNC was not an unbiased arbiter of the Democratic primary. I've never hidden that. I've never hidden that I supported Bernie Sanders in the primary. And I've also never hidden that on November, I'm forgetting, was it November 8th of 2016? On Election Day, I did cast a vote for Hillary Clinton because based on the candidates that were running at that time, that's who I decided to vote for. And it has nothing to do with wanting to hide realities about the DNC or anything like that, okay? So let's now get into the story. What is the story? What we have learned today from an article that Donna Brazile, former interim DNC chair, wrote on Politico. She says that she conducted an investigation into, did Hillary Clinton co-opt the DNC in order to defeat all challengers during the Democratic primary of 2016? And Donna Brazile claims that she uncovered a financial scheme for Hillary Clinton to do exactly that. How does Hillary Clinton pull this off, according to Donna Brazile? Well, it really comes down to fundraising. It comes down to fundraising. The limits for donations to individual candidates during election cycles are far lower than what one can contribute to the DNC. And in fact, because the DNC has all of these different state parties, if you contribute the maximum to each DNC state party and the national DNC, you as an individual can contribute way more money than you ever could just to the campaign to elect Hillary Clinton, for example. So what Donna Brazile says she uncovered, and she outlines this not only in this article today in Politico, but also in a new book that she has out, and that is something I'm going to talk about. Believe me, it's not lost on me that she has an incentive to want to sell books here. She says that Hillary Clinton basically struck a deal with the DNC, and Donna Brazile says and outlines that she found a document that explains this. It's not just her pulling this out of thin air. She says that Hillary Clinton arranged with the DNC that, number one, she being her campaign, would be in control of the finances, the money received by the DNC, but also that the DNC would effectively launder money for Hillary Clinton, meaning that donations would come into the DNC would get to keep a little bit of that, and then the lion's share of the money would go back out to the Hillary Clinton campaign. Now, if Hillary Clinton were already the Democratic nominee, that would not be that unusual, as Donna Brazile explains in the Politico article that I'm linking to in the, actually, I'm linking to the Newsweek article. Let me change the link right now in the description here. Okay, I've updated it. That would be a pretty normal thing if Hillary Clinton had already won the Democratic nomination. The problem is that this fundraising scheme was in place before the nomination was settled, meaning that you had Bernie Sanders and at other points other Democrats, individuals running for the Democratic primary, competing. But the DNC money was a lion's share of it was being kicked back out to Hillary Clinton. That is effectively a money laundering scheme and a dishonest one. And as Donna Brazile says in her article in Politico, there is nothing illegal about this in the sense that we're talking about a political party. That party establishes its rules. It purports to be an unbiased arbiter of the Democratic primary. It doesn't have to be. It's not a question of legality, but clearly it was not, and that is what Donna Brazile says that she uncovered. The money supposedly for the eventual candidate was in advance being given to the Hillary Clinton campaign. If true, this is nothing short of monumental. Now, Should we have some degree of skepticism about Donna Brazile's assertions? Of course we should. Of course we should. And it has nothing to do with who you supported now, then, Trump, Russia, Bernie, whatever. We should always have a healthy skepticism of what we are being told. And when it comes to Donna Brazile, there's a couple different things going on. Number one, she is trying to sell a book. And we know that she could have gone public with this before. In fact, if Donna Brazile had gone public with this earlier, it's possible that the DNC might not be in the situation it's currently in with Tom Perez, an effectively establishment Democrat running the DNC. It's possible that that would have gone a different way. But she wants to sell books, so she's decided that this is how she's going to announce this. But there's another issue here as well, which is that in her declaration about what she found out, she being Donna Brazile, about Hillary Clinton's effective takeover of the DNC, Donna Brazile says that had she known about this, she never would have accepted the position of interim chair at the DNC. But she also effectively throws Debbie Wasserman Schultz under the bus and says she had absolutely no knowledge or involvement in this. Now, do we believe that? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Is this an effort from Donna Brazile to save face in a conveniently timed explanation that coincides with the release of her book? It's possible. Is it possible that Donna Brazile is telling us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? It's possible. But when you're talking about Democrats, Inc., and Donna Brazile was part of the Democrats, Inc. cabal from the point of view of many Bernie supporters for a long time, the same people that believe Donna Brazile to be a disastrous DNC chair and not trustworthy, many of them are now buying into Donna Brazile's news story 100%, and all of that skepticism they had of her has evaporated. Now, the way I like to approach things is, if I was skeptical of Donna Brazile before, why would I all of a sudden not be skeptical now because she may have confirmed a narrative that I might have already believed or suspected to be true? So we have to express that skepticism, and we have to take everything that is said with a grain of salt because everybody has an agenda here. Now, would it really shock any of us that this is exactly true, that what Donna Brazile is alleging is exactly the way it happened? Of course not. Of course not, because all along we saw that the DNC implicitly and in some cases explicitly was not running a completely unbiased primary. That's abundantly clear. So it's sort of like when we hear that Donald Trump did something completely unempathetic to a Gold Star family, then we say, well, does he have a history of being super empathetic with people, or does he have a history of being a completely delusional narcissistic sociopath? If the shoe fits, wear it, right? So this Donna Brazile story correlates perfectly with what we already believed about the DNC. Now, the next layer of this, and a lot of you aren't going to like it, and if you don't like it, send me a Super Chat or Streamlabs comment explaining what it is that I'm saying that's wrong here. I think I just saw my electric bill down here, and I'm just realizing I've not paid this thing. Wow. Hopefully this thing is not, due in 5 days. Okay, good. Got to get that thing paid. It was hidden under a whole bunch of stuff over here on my desk. I hate to break it to the Bernie bros, but this doesn't change anything about Trump-Russia collusion, okay? There is this idea sometimes from Bernie bros that if they acknowledge Trump-Russia collusion, that it somehow is an attack on Bernie and it props up Hillary. Okay, now to me it doesn't make any sense, and I've talked about this before, but the logic of it is as follows. There are some who believe that if you believe Trump-Russia collusion took place, that's the reason Trump defeated Hillary, meaning were it not for Russian collusion, Hillary would have won, meaning that Hillary was a great candidate. That's like 10 steps that you don't need to take. The Trump-Russia collusion story and the DNC defending Hillary story, nothing objectively changes the merits of Bernie Sanders' candidacy or of Hillary Clinton's candidacy or of Donald Trump's candidacy, period, okay? And the Bernie bros who insist that Trump-Russia collusion can't be true because Hillary's a disaster, need to take a step back and realize that these are two totally separate, unrelated stories. Please stop sending me the emails saying that by talking about Trump-Russia collusion, I am shilling for Hillary Clinton. They are unrelated stories to the extent that they indicate the sort of political validity or our evaluation of Hillary Clinton as a candidate. I believe that Bernie Sanders was the best candidate. I voted for Bernie Sanders in the Democratic primary. He ultimately lost, and yes, the DNC had a big role to play in him losing. But that is completely separate from the fact that we now have 3 indictments in Trump-Russia and 1 guilty plea in Trump-Russia. This is totally separate from the fact that Jeff Sessions, every day, we learn more and more about how he appears to have perjured himself, right? You've got to disaggregate the two because they are two completely different things. Two completely different things, okay? And even now, there are people in the chat saying I'm shilling for Hillary. What am I saying that's so great about Hillary? I'm telling you I think she was not a good candidate. I'm telling you that I think that she is far too conservative. She's far too involved with the Democrats, Inc. corporate Democrat stuff. In what way am I shilling for Hillary Clinton? Please explain to me specifically, okay? Let me see what's going on in the super chat here. A lot of people want to get involved here. Jonathan Tab has sent a $2 super chat saying, David, thanks for all you do. You're the best. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Brave New World has sent a €2 super chat. David, you are wrong on all issues and avoid facts. Well, that's not an argument. Give me an issue I'm wrong about. Tell me what facts I'm ignoring. I hope that was worth the €2 for you. Ingy Bingy 2000 has sent a $5 super chat asking whether I followed the purge in the DNC with the delegates getting canned. Only a little bit. I need to read more about that. I've got some articles bookmarked about that to take a look at tomorrow, okay? Over at streamlabs.com/The David Pakman Show, Wayne from California has sent a $5 comment. Thank you for expressing your opinion, which is a breath of fresh air. Well, thank you, Wayne. I appreciate it. A user contributing under the name Donna Brazile with Brazil misspelled has sent a $4 Streamlabs contribution saying, David, just want to thank you for not covering that fake news story about the DNC. Hillary is pleased with your performance. Very, very clever. Hope that was worth $4 for you. Gigantic sent a $3 contribution via Streamlabs. David, how many times a week do you get asked to debate Kyle Kulinski on Russia? Chat, please press 1 if you want David to debate Kyle. I'm not noticing it too often. Every once in a while I see something like that. I don't really know what there is to debate because there's an investigation going on, and we will eventually see what crimes, if any, were committed, what collusion took place, if any. I don't know what the debate is. If the debate is what does it imply about Bernie Sanders as a candidate, my answer would be nothing. So I don't think that Kyle and I would really have too much to debate about that. As I've said before, the existence or non-existence of Trump-Russia collusion has no bearing on whether Bernie Sanders was the best candidate or not during the Democratic primaries. I believe that he was, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Okay, John Coster has sent a $2 super chat. Thank you very much. Kieran JC has sent a $5 super chat. How do you define the term Bernie bro? This is bothering people. I don't know. I mean, there's no particularly good term to describe So I voted for Bernie Sanders in the Democratic primary, but I am not attached to conspiracy theories about how, maybe not, conspiracy theories isn't even the right word, but the idea that we can't accept that Trump-Russia collusion may have taken place because it's an attack on Bernie's candidacy. I consider those to be two completely separate stories. And I was, number one, not a Bernie or buster. I think that that's one possible characteristic of a so-called Bernie bro. I was not someone who believed at any point that if Russia helped Trump win, that in any way devalued or delegitimized Bernie Sanders' candidacy. So the individuals who are clinging to that idea, I guess, is what I mean as Bernie bros. It's not a technical term. It's not the most accurate term, but that's more or less, I guess I would say, what I'm describing. Let me do a couple thank yous, okay? I don't want to fall behind on these. davidpakman.com/membership. The membership program is the #1 funding source for our show. And we've got a few new members that have signed up just while we've been chatting here. And I do want to say a special thank you to them because they're directly funding our program. Simon Johnson, thank you so much. Julietta Fraser has signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. Eric Baker, thanks Eric, really appreciate it. And Norman Walker has signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. We do have a coupon code available for membership. If you're interested in a discount, you can put in the coupon code IVoted17. Then you'll get the best of all worlds. You will get all the member benefits, including the bonus show. You will get a discount, and you will also be thanked on the live stream, which is a really, really great thing. Over at Patreon, we're still taking contributions. We had just a horrible first of the month yesterday. We were up to 2,009 patrons, actually, on October 31st. And what happened, sadly, on the first of the month is that Patreon attempts to charge everybody who's pledged. And some fraction, in our case, somewhere around 60 or so patrons, had credit cards that expired or were otherwise declined on November 1st. So we were knocked all the way down to like 1935 or 40 yesterday patrons. But we've built it back up. We're back up to 1987. We have reached and surpassed my birth year of 1984. And we are only 13 patrons away from 2,000. So here's what I want to do, okay? We've been dancing around this 2,000 patron thing for a while. And if you look down at the bottom left of the screen, you'll notice that it says, when we reach 2,000 patrons, David will do an entire broadcast show with his hair untamed and out of control, okay? We're only 13 patrons away. This is what I'm talking about. And let's just get to 2,000. Let's do it tonight. Let's put that goal to rest and then move on to bigger and better things and just be done with it. And what I will probably do is Monday, do the entire show with my hair like this, which could be embarrassing, but I think it'll be funny as well. And what would be really funny is we're also starting this other thing where I now have a Jenga set joining me in the studio on the desk, and we are going to be making moves in the Jenga game. I will be moving pieces corresponding to Patreon contributions that we get, and it would just be like the perfect storm. I don't know if the show could even survive it. If Monday I end up doing the entire show with my hair like this, and we have so many Patreon contributions that the Jenga set falls and crashes while we are taping the show, I don't know that the show could survive it. It could be a scandal of epic proportions. But that's the goal for tonight, okay? Let's just get to 2,000. If we do that, let's pull out all the stops, okay? If we get to 2,000 patrons tonight, and we're only like 11 away at this point or something like that, I will create a 55% membership discount code and only announce it to you. We will be locked in for doing the show with the whacked out of control hair, and I will do thank yous for everybody, okay? So let's just get it done. I think we can do it. Quinn Malecki has sent John Coster has sent a $2 super chat. Thanks, David. You're right on the money. Smart. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Quinn Malecki has sent a $5 super chat. A Nation article claims the downloading speeds DNC files were downloaded at were higher than those that any ISP could have provided to international hackers. What are your thoughts? I've not heard that, Quinn, and I don't know enough. I don't know enough about it to say for sure, but I'll look into it. Beardman has sent a $2 super chat, and Beardman has been called into jury duty, and he's calling it BS and a waste of time. I was just called into jury duty myself. I got the notice a couple days ago, and I've moved it because the date isn't convenient, and I pushed it out all the way till next December, almost a full year, or more than a year, actually. No, less than a year because it wasn't scheduled until January or something like that. I did jury duty once on my 21st birthday, in fact. And it was an assault and battery case. And it destroyed my faith in the justice system, sadly, because it was a self-defense case. We were to decide as a jury whether an individual who punched another individual was acting out of self-defense or not. right? Now, the facts of the case were that individual A had shoved individual B. Individual B had retaliated by punching individual A. And the law in Massachusetts, as it was explained to us for self-defense, was that it is only self-defense if you had no means of exiting the situation altogether. You have sort of a duty to retreat in the state of Massachusetts. And based on the facts of the case, the individual B who was on trial had many options other than punching guy A in the face. So by the letter of the law, it was not self-defense. But in the jury room, you had about half of the six, I think it was 2 or 3 of the 6 people in the jury room couldn't understand that we weren't talking colloquially about self-defense. We were talking about self-defense as written by the letter of the law. So two of the guys in there, interesting that it was 2 men out of the, I think that we had 4 men and 2 women in the jury room. 2 men said, no, come on. It was self-defense. He's not guilty, right? I mean, guy A shoved him and guy B punched him. It was in self-defense. He had been shoved. And those of us who understood the jury instructions about the definition of self-defense under the law said, well, hold on. It's only self-defense if he had no ability to retreat. And because of all these circumstances that were relevant to the case, he could have retreated and he didn't. So it's not self-defense. And these 2 guys insisted, no, come on, if someone shoves you, what are you going to do? It's self-defense. And ultimately, we found the guy not guilty, not because we were deadlocked, but because we went to the judge with some questions and we said, Judge, are we to decide merely if the punch was self-defense, assuming that the shove is part of the basis here? In other words, are we to assume that the shove took place, or are we to even evaluate whether we believe that the shove took place? And the judge basically came back and said, no, you're to decide if any of the testimony that you've heard is true. And once we were told we had to first even assess whether we believed the shove took place, that created a reasonable doubt. And ultimately, it was not guilty, and the entire thing was a waste of an entire day. So anyway, that's my jury duty story. Frank McWright has sent a $20 super chat, setting the high watermark for tonight's stream. Just a theory. Maybe Donald Trump still has 38% support because Republicans are waiting to see if he gets away with everything. I think this would change how they campaign in the future if they know the bar and expectations are much lower. The thing about that, Frank, is your explanation would make sense in terms of why Republican elected officials haven't jumped ship on Trump, but it would not really explain why the general public hasn't jumped ship on Trump. So I think you're definitely onto something, but I think it applies to the elected officials, not to the voters. XX Shamaica has sent a $5 super chat. Jorge Zoros needs to fund you. LOL, I know, lame joke. Can't wait for 2000. By the way, you should have Pat at least once on a live stream. Yeah, I know. People think Pat's always around, but Pat and I actually don't live together. Shocking, I know, to a lot of people, but maybe someday he'd be able to join me. Rigo Ordonez has sent a $5 super chat. I've read in the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, among others, that emoluments doesn't apply to elected officials, only government employees. What are your thoughts? Love the show. TQM. What's TQM? I forget what that means. What's that abbreviation for? Total Quality Management? No, that can't possibly be it. I don't remember. Anyway, TQM, thank you. I think from what I've read, it does. I'm not a lawyer, but from what I've read, the emoluments clause does apply to elected officials as well as government employees. John Coster has sent a $2 super chat. Has any major network recruited you? I've had meetings with major networks about being a contributor. The meetings were very awkward, and it was abundantly clear within the first 2 minutes that I was not a fit, at least not with the people who were talking to me. And that's okay. I don't mind that. Okay, let me do a couple thank yous here. We have a couple of new patrons. Austin Roberts has pledged $2. Thanks very much, Austin. I appreciate that. Chris Menor has also pledged $2 at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. Maybe it's Menor. I don't know if I pronounced that incorrectly. If so, I apologize. We are at 1,990 patrons. The challenge for tonight, let's just get to 2,000. Let's do it. If we get to 2,000, I will have a bunch of Jenga moves to make for each of those Patreon contributions on the program upcoming. If we get to 2,000 patrons, we will do an entire show from the broadcast studio with my hair completely out of control, which I think will be an interesting thing. And every single one of you will get a thank you. So we started at 1987. We're at 1990. We can do this, right? We can do this. Let's just get there and be done with it. And I think we will all we'll all be the better for it, right? Something like that. Over at streamlabs.com/The David Pakman Show, Ash Farther has sent a $10 contributions. How do you think the DNC will respond to this news or deny it? And do you think Hillary Clinton, DBS, I don't know if you meant DBS, maybe DWS, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, or Bernie Sanders will reply or say anything at all? Based on the little you've read about the DNC staffing issue, do you think this complicates their position? Yeah, the DNC, or as I call it, Democrats Inc., they are in a tough position right now, and I have no idea what they're going to comment. As far as I read up to 45 minutes ago, they had not yet commented, and I could not possibly predict what it is that they're going to do. But I will be watching closely, and it's going to be a fascinating couple of weeks. Gigantic sent a $3 Streamlabs contribution. David, if you were ever arrested, what would your friends and family think the reason was? You know, I have been arrested. I told the story of when I was 7 months short of my 21st birthday, and I was arrested for holding a beer at a party. And I won't retell the entire story, but it is on. I've told it a couple times on the bonus show and in other video clips, I think, that are publicly available on YouTube. So yeah, I have told that, and I think that if I were to be arrested again, I think most people that know me would assume that they would think that the reason was some kind of misunderstanding, to be quite frank. Indigo sent a $2 Streamlabs contribution. What's your opinion on a long-form interview live in studio with Richard Wolff? Topics of interest for me would include new developments in Marxian economics, what Marxism in the 21st century looks like, and what lessons can we learn from the Soviet Union. Yeah, we've talked about some of those issues. We've sort of danced around some of them. And talked about them a little bit. The issue with an in-studio interview with Richard Wolff, who's my former economics professor from my undergraduate alma mater at the University of Massachusetts, is that he's based in New York, and we're based in Boston. So that's going to be tough. Let's see what else we've got here. But I would love to do it. I would love to have him, and if he ever speaks in Boston, it would be my pleasure to have him in. Trent Tanner has sent to streamlabs.com/The David Pakman Show contribution. Cable companies lost 1 million customers last quarter. Do you think they can adapt to the changing market? Absolutely. A couple different things going on. Number one, YouTube demonetization is going to push more money to the cable companies. That's number one. So that's been a big boon for them since March 31st. It's crushed us. It's been great for them. The rollback of net neutrality could be a big boon for cable companies and something else that could be good for them. And what the cable companies are doing is they are, by and large, rethinking their offerings, not so much as dividing cable and internet, but thinking of it all as content delivery. And that is going to be sort of the basis, I believe, for how they are going to try to continue raising revenues, in addition to just constantly increasing prices and raising fees and all of that nonsense that you and I are pretty familiar with at this point. So I think that cord cutting is going to be a problem in the short term and the medium term for these companies, but more than likely in the long term, they are going to adapt and be able to make a ton of money. That's just the reality. They're going to be able to do it. Okay. A couple more comments coming in here. Matthew Cummings has sent a $5 super chat. And then Greaseball68 has donated 20 British pounds through super chat. That is now the top contribution. Frank McWright donated $20, but 20 British pounds. I believe right now the British pound is still stronger than the dollar, right? Yes. Yes, it is. That wow, by quite a bit more than I remembered. So that is now the high watermark, 20 British pounds. Matthew Cummings asking, when people ask you to debate Kyle on Russia, they're referring to Kyle completely denying any Trump-Russia collusion and his ridicule of those who assert it. Okay, I didn't know that. I don't know how anyone can deny the collusion. The investigation's not over, right? And also, collusion means collusion in and of itself is not a crime, right? Collusion is an umbrella term that can include activities that could be criminal and activities that might not necessarily be criminal. So I don't know how anyone can say at this point that there was no collusion. It's just not been demonstrated. We just don't know that. That's I don't know how anybody could do that. Chase Bemis has sent a $5 super chat. David, what's your opinion of modern monetary theory? Yeah, I got a question about this last week or the week before. And the idea is modern monetary theory, as I understand it, effectively says that the concept of currency and debt is sort of irrelevant when you can just print money. If my recollection is correct about modern monetary theory, that's a big tenet of it. And I don't know enough about it, and I've been reading a little bit about it since other people have mentioned it, but I'm not yet well versed enough in it to really comment intelligently. But I continue to research that along with a number of other topics that are relevant to me. Okay, we've got a couple other Patreon contributors, and of course, we're trying to get to 2,000 tonight. We want to get to 2,000 contributors on Patreon tonight, and when that happens, it's going to be a trifecta. I will, number one, create a 55% membership discount code just for you. Number two, I will be doing a show out of the studio with my hair like this when we get to 2,000 Patreon contributions. And we are now gamifying Patreon contributions. We will tie Patreon contributions to me making Jenga moves. We established today at the David Pakman Show studio a Jenga board, not a board, a Jenga set. I don't know what it's called. I guess it's a setup. And we will be gamifying Patreon contributions by thanking people as I make moves, and we will see how many Jenga moves I can make. So anyway, back to the thank yous. I want to thank Mario Rodriguez, who pledged, Mario Rodriguez cancel. I don't know if that's an error, cancel, like if they were trying to cancel their contribution and accidentally pledged, or if that's part of the, we have a number of members actually with the last name Cancel, interestingly enough. Mario Rodriguez Cancel has pledged $2 a month on Patreon. Katie Badacher, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, has made a $2 a month pledge on Patreon, and that gets us now. We started the evening at 1987, which was an interesting year, and we are now up to 1992. We are 8 patrons away from hitting 2,000, which is the goal for tonight. I've got a good feeling about tonight. I think we might do this, and it would be a major, major accomplishment, particularly because some of you may not have seen this, but Amazon killed our affiliate link on Monday, and this happened to a bunch of people. Jen Briney, I was tweeting with Jen Briney, who hosts the Congressional Dish podcast. She got her Amazon link destroyed the same day we did. And that was about 10% of our revenue. So anything we can make up, even with dollar at a time contributions on Patreon, is much appreciated. And a couple new members as well that I want to say hello to. Let me pull those up here. CJ Chase, thanks very much for signing up. Thomas LaBelle, thank you for signing up. And Esteban Moore has signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. Thank you. Really appreciate all of those contributions, and a lot of exciting stuff coming for the program, and I appreciate everybody's support. John Coster has sent a $5 super chat asking, what do you think is the real viability of a third-party system? Can anybody hear that? Sounds like a phone calls coming through my vent. I keep telling folks it's not a possibility in the near future. Better to reform the DNC. Here's the thing, John. I think we need to take an all of the above approach. So to get really viable third-party systems, number one, I believe that we absolutely need instant runoff voting. That's going to need to happen because the fear from people for voting third party is too great. Because let's say you're really, really far left. If you vote for the furthest left candidate, you might end up hurting the slightly left candidate and helping the right-wing candidate get elected. With instant runoff voting, you're able to say, my number one choice is candidate A. My number two choice is candidate B. And if it turns out that after one run, candidate A is not viable to win, then your vote is shifted to candidate B. It is a fantastic system. There are always some issues, right? There are always some issues with any system. But I think that needs to happen. In the meantime, and campaign finance reform as well, right? So that absolutely needs to happen in order to make third parties viable. But in the meantime, of course, we should be trying to reform the DNC. The headline of this live stream was that Donna Brazile, former interim DNC chair, says Hillary stole the election. Hillary stole the Democratic primary, that is. So absolutely, we need to be reforming the DNC as well. Maria Romero has sent a $2 super chat. Thank you. Kelly Noel has sent a $26.13 super chat. Now, how does that compare to 20 British pounds? I see. 20 British pounds, excuse me, I'm having a very dry throat issue here. 20 British pounds was 26.11 in US dollars, and Kelly has sent 26.13. Very clever. I get it. Okay. Ash Farther has sent a $2 Streamlabs contribution. It was Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I always have, oh boy, I'm having like a Fox News moment here. It was Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Wow. This has never happened to me before. I have always had the initial want to put the B from Debbie into the acronym for whatever reason. Do you think that within our lifetimes that atheists can openly run for office and have a chance? Just your opinion on that subject. I think that atheism is viable for national candidates, but it's going to be a while. This is so embarrassing. Okay. Atheism is more negatively seen at this point than Marxism and communism. So I think that it is going to be possible within our lifetimes if you're my age, but it's going to be a while. Okay, more Patreon contributions. Wow. Courtney Hegwer has just pledged $2 a month. Karen Blake Robinson has pledged $5 a month, and Daniel Ryan Day has pledged $2 per month. We are now at 1,995 patrons. We are 5 patrons away from 2,000. When we get to 2,000, we will have a number of things happen. Number one, I will do an entire broadcast show with my hair like this. And it could be Monday, I would say. Monday might be a good day for that. In addition, we have set up Jenga on the David Pakman Show desk at David Pakman Show Studios. And we will be making Jenga moves for each Patreon contribution. Now, it might have to be like 2-to-1. Like for every 2 contributions, I thank 2 people and then move 2 pieces, because there's only, I believe, 54 Jenga pieces. And you can usually get somewhere between 20 and mid to high 20s moves before the entire thing comes crashing down. So unless we want it to go super quickly, I think it's going to have to be like a 2-to-1 ratio. And if we get to 2,000 patrons by the end of the evening, I will create and release for you a 55% membership discount code. I won't mention it on the show. I won't email anybody. I won't announce it on Twitter. It will only be announced on this live stream. It'll be something you can take advantage of, a 55% discount off of membership. And we are only 5 patrons away. You know, I always wished from the time I was a little boy that the 2,000 patron milestone would happen during a live stream. And I just might get that wish today, because it is looking very, very good. Only 5 away. Let's make it happen. Let's just wrap it up. And I'm so confident it's going to happen. I'm going to pull up the coupon creation interface for our website and membership right now, because I believe in you and I believe that it's going to happen and it's going to be super exciting. Emmett Cashman has sent a $5 super chat. If I'm okay with a Nazi getting punched, does that make me a legitimate mass murdering Nazi? No. If you're okay with Nazis being punched, you're not a mass murderer and you're not a Nazi. But I sort of disagree with you. Here's my take on this, okay? You know that phrase, I disagree with what you've said, but I will defend to the death your right to say it? I think we should defend all speech that is not inciting violence, but I'm not necessarily going to choose to defend to the death the speech of Nazis. Let other Nazis do that, right? I'll focus on other projects. I'm not going to go out and put myself in front of people looking to punch Nazis, right? But I do think that as a matter of policy and as a matter of ideals, that punching Nazis is not the way to go. Now, the counter argument is that Nazi ideology is so violent that it's kind of indistinguishable from physical violence like a punch. I just don't know that I see eye to eye with people who believe that. So I don't believe we should be punching Nazis unless you're defending yourself from someone else's physical aggression, in which case it doesn't matter whether they're a Nazi or not. You should just defend yourself. Gigantic has sent a $2 Streamlabs contribution. What are your thoughts on RT? That bald guy from Ring of Fire who hosted your show one time goes on RT. Are they just Kremlin propaganda or a good news source? We do not use RT as a source for any of our stories as a matter of show policy. It's on the list of news sources that we don't use, period. And it's not a question of it being an ad hominem of whether it's Kremlin propaganda. It is Russian state media, right? It's funded. It's Russian. It's funded by Russian oligarchs, and it is connected to the Kremlin. So we don't use it as a source. And it's important that everybody sort of check every source and understand what these sources are, sort of how they're financed and what it means to see news from any particular source. Ash Farther has sent a $2 Streamlabs contribution. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm writing a brief paper on whether or not television is becoming obsolete. I assume that by television the meaning is the amalgamation of the programs. Do you know of any good studies going one way or the other? Nuke the fridge. Nuke the fridge. I don't know what that means. Nuke the fridge. Never heard that before. Urban Dictionary. Nuke the fridge. Nuke the fridge is a colloquialism used to refer to the moment in a film series that is so incredible that it lessens the excitement of subsequent scenes that rely on more understated action or suspense, and it becomes apparent that a certain installment is not as good as previous installments due to ridiculous or low-quality storylines, events, or characters. I'm not sure exactly what you are referring to with Nuke the Fridge. I understand the phrase now. I don't know. I'm sorry, but I don't know of any papers about the possible obsolescence of television. If I did, I can assure you I would tell you about it. Maria Romero with a $10 super chat. I usually miss your live streams. Glad I got to this one. Always good to see you, Maria. Maria is a David Pakman Show all-star. She contributes via super chat. She's a member and she contributes via Patreon. So I couldn't thank Maria enough, and it's always great to see you, Maria. Thank you so much. I've got another patron to thank. We're getting dangerously close to 2,000. Kelly Noel has has pledged $2.50 a month on Patreon. I don't think I knew that you could do pennies. I thought it had to be full dollars on Patreon. But thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. And we are now at 1,996. You guys aren't going to let us fall short, right? And just fall four short of 2,000. I really hope that doesn't happen. That would be a bummer. I'm ready to go here with a 55% discount code for membership if we hit 2,000. If we hit 2,000, I think Monday we will be doing an entire broadcast show with my hair like this from the studio. If we hit 2,000, we will have close to 20 possible Jenga moves to make in studio as well. We now have a Jenga gamification of Patreon contributions. Let's not fail. Let's make it happen, because I think it would be a really, really great thing. and we're only 4 away. Now, does anybody have a strong feeling, assuming that this happens, what should be the theme? What should be the theme of the coupon code? I've made them things like cucked no more. I've made them things like Donny Boy this or that, or Donald Trump related things. I feel like it should maybe be indictment related, right? I don't know. I think that there should be something like that. Okay, XX Shameka has sent a $5 super chat. I heard the Uranium One story that came up recently was about targeting Robert Mueller, since he was the FBI director when the Uranium One deal happened. That's interesting. I did hear a couple things about that. I've looked into the uranium story, and what is abundantly clear is that the timing of starting to talk about it last week was very clearly because there was panic about exactly what it is that happened this week, which is multiple indictments and a guilty plea in the Trump-Russia investigation. So you might be right. There's endless reasons why that might be something we're hearing about right now. The Bun has sent a $5 super chat. The question is, are you planning to expand the show and include other presenters, hire reporters, etc.? Thanks, love what you do. Interesting question. That's something that we do think about here and there, but the truth is that just running our show is a lot of work. And we could continue to improve the David Pakman Show by staffing up and expanding the production value and growing ad sales and a lot of different things. So there's no 100% decision on that right now, but it's definitely something that we think about. Ian D has sent a $5 super chat. I'm already a patron. Step up, people. Need to see that hair. And then Rigo Ordonez has sent a $2 super chat. Code TQM2017. Te quiero mucho. Oh, okay. Love you very much in Spanish. Got it, Rigo. Shocking that I didn't know that. I think it's because my brain was not engaged in Spanish mode when I read it. And it didn't even occur to me that TQM was a Spanish abbreviation. Wow. We have another Patreon contributor. John Coster has just pledged $5 a month on Patreon. We are now at 1,997. 1997. The target is 2,000, and we've got about 10 minutes left in this live stream because I got to go to bed. It's been a long week already and a big day tomorrow. It's a school night. We're not going to fall just 3 short, are we? We are only 3 patrons away here. We started the evening at 1987, and we are at 1997. 3 patrons away. Let's do it. XX Shameka with a $2 super chat. Maybe the Patreon code should be Free Kukistan. A little too difficult to spell. I think that would be confusing to people if that were the coupon code. I need to think of something clever though. I think about clever coupon codes all the time, except when I actually need to create them. Maybe let's see. I'm going to type one in here. Let's see. Yeah, all right. I've got an idea. Actually, it's tough to spell. That's the problem. You know what? We're going to make it a difficult one to spell anyway. Because then if we make it, I'll paste it into the description for everybody. I really hope we do make it to 2,000. If we didn't at this point, it would just be so embarrassing because I've already got a coupon code planned for everybody. Code hairdo. That's interesting. It could be hair related. Yeah, let me try something. That's a good idea. I like that. It's going to be a hair-related code. But don't let me down. Let's make it. Let me take a look at the regular chat. I always want to look in and see what people are saying in the regular chat. It's not just for the elites who are contributing via super chat. Come on, guys, let's do this, says Maria Romero. What do I think about Rick Perry's statement suggesting fossil fuels could reduce sexual assaults in Africa? Yeah, I saw that. I will be talking about that either on tomorrow or Monday's program. Let's see what else we have here. The code should be TQM 2017. The code should be No Russia Story. The code should be, what else are people suggesting here? A couple other ones. What other questions do we have? Russia, 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 agree with David, disagree with David. It should be illegal to be Christian and be president. I think that would be unconstitutional. Who are you calling a Bernie bro? Kyle Kalinske is a Bernie bro. Geez, a lot of tension in the chat today. Wasn't Bernie openly an atheist? Nah, he wasn't. He wasn't what I would describe as openly an atheist, but we could certainly read between the lines. Russians are wiretapping you, David. I really hope not, but I assume that they are. Cover some Canadian stories. That's an interesting idea. Could do that. Every once in a while we do. Seize the memes of production. That's a good one. I like that one. A lot of interesting discussion. A lot of interesting discussion happening there. And not that many people banned today, which is interesting because usually it's an absolute and total shit show. And yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. People mentioning XCOM. We actually have a question coming up on audience questions next week or the next week or the week after about what video games I grew up playing, and I was a huge XCOM player growing up. XCOM and the Grand Theft Auto series were like my go-tos in the video game world, as well as Flight Simulator. But I'll dig into that, and maybe we'll find out what producer Pat's favorite games were growing up as well. But I will save getting more into that in the future. Why did I leave the Young Turks? That's a good question from Dark Moot. I was never part of the Young Turks. I was part of the Young Turks YouTube network, which was really like an administrative thing. And we just decided to go totally independent and to grow the channel independent of all the other Young Turks channels. I still talk to those guys. Just saw Aaron Wysocki from TYT in Vegas last week. I saw Jenk and Steve-O in Vegas last week, and I had a chance to catch up with both of them. Spoke to Jenk, spoke to Steve-O, and it was good to see them. So it was not for any reason other than decided to just be completely independent and not be associated with that brand. Dylan Collett has sent a $2 super chat. Do I consider myself a secular humanist? I value secular humanism as a set of values that I do identify with, and I'm actually going to be speaking on, I think it's the first Sunday in December at Harvard's Humanist Hub. Let me see. Yeah, Sunday, December 3rd. I'm going to be speaking at Harvard's Humanist Hub about free speech as a humanist value. That's open to the public, by the way, so feel free to come there. And check out my presentation. So yeah, I identify with humanist values pretty significantly, although I don't know that I identify as a secular humanist. Yesenia Moreno has asked me at Streamlabs whether I'm growing a mustache for Movember. I usually don't do that, but I haven't shaved so far in November, so maybe I should. Maybe I should do that. Let me see if I can get permission from my girlfriend for that. Kidding. Meno has sent a $2 stream super chat. Before calling it a night, check your Steemit. So here's the deal. The David Pakman Show is now on Steemit. Steemit is a new platform. It's very exciting. And the David Pakman Show today has broken into Steemit. And my introduction post on Steemit, and it's steemit.com/@David Pakman. Steemit, steemit.com/@David Pakman. My introduction post now has 117 upvotes, 38 comments, and has accrued $111.43 in, I don't know what it's called. Is it called revenue on Steemit? I'm not sure. But check it out. It's a very cool new platform, and that is really, really good news. Ian D has sent a $5 super chat. Did you see Cenk Uygur debate Sam Harris about Islam? What is your opinion on the matter? Yeah, I think that's the 3-hour video. I did not watch all of it. That was a big, big commitment. I saw a little bit of it. It was years ago, and I don't remember the details, but I think I recall that I was not particularly impressed by any. The outcome was not that anything was resolved, in my view. Yeah. Okay, now I've just been, I realize we made it to 2,000 Patreon contributions. I see people in the chat going completely apoplectic saying, David, you've made it. You've made it. I know, I was just waiting. This is a really big deal. we have now surpassed the 2,000 patron mark at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. And the most exciting thing about this is that when you now go to patreon.com/David Pakman Show, see how on the screenshot I'm showing you, it says 1987 out of 2,000. And then when we get to 2,000 patrons, I'll do an entire show with my hair like this, etc. We've talked about it. Because we've reached 2,000 patrons, if you now go to patreon.com/David Pakman Show, it now says out of 2,500 patrons. And this is a very exciting thing. When we reach 2,500 patrons, we are going to record, edit, and upload all of my Boston College lectures from my talk media, epistemology, critical thinking, and media literacy class. I know it's shocking, particularly when you see this, but I am a college professor at Boston College, and the 75-minute lectures that I've given there are something that people on the internet have expressed an interest in seeing. And we've decided that when we get to 2,500 patrons, which is now the next goal, we've made it to 2,000. When we get to 2,500, we will fully produce those and make them available to you. So let's get a coupon code going. Thank you to Daniel Crate, who has pledged $5 a month. Cheryl Alvarez has pledged $2 a month. Ash Farther has pledged $2 a month. William Reese has pledged $2 a month. Samuel Medina has pledged $2 a month. Carlos Macias has pledged $2 a month. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of you. We are now at 2,003 patrons. I am not going to have a choice. On Monday, I've been promising it for months, and I'm going to have to do it. Monday, I will have to do the entire show with my hair like this. Monday, Jenga pieces are going to be moved for our Patreon contributors. But most importantly, I am now setting up a coupon code which will save you 55% off of membership. I'm not telling anybody else other than you fine folks on the live stream about the coupon code. And the coupon code is HAIR17. Coupon code HAIR17. I have just added it to the description, and it will save you 55% off of membership. It will expire in, I think it's tomorrow at midnight that it will expire. So get those memberships, 55% off. You get 100% of the member benefits, and incredibly exciting. Thank you to everybody. I'd better start getting my hair product ready so I can puff up my hair as much as possible. That's the funny thing, that this is my hair with no product in it. But I actually know of a way to use the product to puff it up even more. And just for kicks, I might actually do that on the Monday show. So thanks to everybody. Have at it with the coupon code. Thanks to everybody who contributed. And I will do another live stream very soon.